actually, Margo, which LAPAC are you in? Are you in Lakeport? No, Kelseyville's, right? That's why I'm confused, because it feels to me like you're in Lakeport, but Highland Springs is in Kelseyville. Okay. So we've got, not that I want to minimize Danny's attendance, but it looks like we've only got one LAPACer here today. And first of all, let me thank everybody for showing up. This is awesome. This is great. And I'm determined to work with whoever attends meetings. But I'm wondering if, as we let me step back. As we worked on compiling the list for consideration from each area plan, it turned out to be kind of a lengthy list. What I'd like to do today, since I just mailed it out to LAPACers, and I'm not sure if anybody just went ahead and used the current area plan for reference, but what I'd like to do today is to work on, morning Victor, is to work on the portion of the Lakeport area plan that's not necessarily included, probably not in your tables that I just sent you, the list. And that is the general assumptions part of the Lakeport area plan. I think that it would be good to cover that as the group that we have right here. And then what I'd like to do is schedule another Lakeport meeting for us to have had time to review the full list, because it's a number of pages. It's a deep dive. And the LAPACers are, what I'm asking everyone to do is to go through that list. And then you'll see a column to your left that'll be for K for keep. So just keep it as is. We're going to pull that straight into the update. Or to discard, we feel that this item is obsolete and does not need to be continued in the next update. Or the one that I think we'll end up talking about is C for change, which is, I'm not ready to discard this one, but I think it needs a little tweaking in order to be relevant in the update. And I think that we'll have a much more robust conversation if everybody has a little bit of time to go over that checklist. So for now, let me pull up the Lakeport area plan. It'll just be a moment. Darn it, wrong computer. I'm using my laptop today, because I took a couple hours off this morning since I've been having a lot of LAPAC evening meetings, and it was very delightful. But now I have the wrong computer, so it'll just be a second. I will find it. Departments, CDD planning, Lake County plans, Lakeport area plan. Excellent. Scroll through the, intro stuff, the tables, contents, executive summary. Okay, now I'm going to get back to share. Before we get started with that, let's just do quick introductions. Mireya Turner, Community Development Director, and kind of the public-facing lead of all of our LAPAC meetings. I have an awesome staff team that's doing a lot of help to support prep for these meetings. But it just kind of looks like I'm doing it all by myself, which I'm not. So anyway, Danny, go ahead.
I'm Danny Wind. I'm a Lakeport resident, just on the LAPAC. I live in the city limits of Lakeport, but I've also lived in North Lakeport.
Great. Betsy. Go ahead and tell us who you are. In case you can't unmute, Betsy Kahn is a longtime advocate, particularly for water resources and senior issues. Oh, go ahead, Betsy.
Sorry.
Pick up where I left off.
I forgot how to find the cursor again. So I am an advocate for environmental and older adult programs in the County of Lake. I've been here since 2000, and I've been the sole proprietor, editor-in-chief of the Essential Public Information Center since 2005. I have participated in dozens of county plans and planning activities, and was involved in the 2008 general plan update starting in 2006. So my concern is for the local area plans, which some of them need radical makeovers and some of them don't. The Lakeport area plan is really pretty good, in my opinion, and also. But I do recommend that you read the later sections of the plan on economic development and community development, because those contain a lot of the philosophical underpinnings of the creation of these goals, policies, and implementation steps. And then also I would recommend going to the city of Lakeport, to their website, and just read the city's general plan, which is very simple, but dovetails with the Lakeport area plan. So those are my recommendations. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. And I did not realize, Betsy, that we both moved to Lake County in the same year. I came in 2000 also. Victor, go ahead.
Yeah, so good morning, everybody. I'm Victor Fernandez. I am the planner here with the city of Lakeport. Have been with the city for about close to, I want to say 3 years now. And previously to that, I did work for the county. So that's a little bit on my background, but yeah, happy to be here.
Go ahead, Margot.
Hello, everybody. Margot Kambara. I'm a member of the General Plan Advisory Committee. I represent District 4, and that's why I attend the Kelseyville Area Plan and the Lakeport Area Plan meetings. Thanks.
Great. Pam.
I'm Pamela Coleman. I'm an AmeriCorps CERC member, or NCO AmeriCorps CERC member, and I'm just here taking notes and observing because this stuff is really interesting to me to learn about. Thank you.
We have really benefited from having the AmeriCorps program ladies with us, and I have no doubt you have learned an awful lot about government and planning and just community visioning. So, because you've really hung in there, I really appreciate having your assistance. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to share screen, and we will go to. I've only got one screen. That makes it easy. Okay, where are you? Good question. Where are you? Let's see. There. Excellent. All right. So you should be seeing the executive summary for Lakeport. Let's just start at the top. So what we have listed here in the executive summary are kind of the basis of data that we consider to be relevant at the time of the local area plan. It's divided into sections, so we'll just start with natural environment. And because I can't really see you, and because we're a small group, let's just not worry about the raising your hand. Go ahead and keep yourself muted if you've got stuff going on in the background that might be loud. But otherwise, feel free to just pipe up, because I'm going to go through this list with my own assumption that a lot of these are going to be relevant. So tell me, just speak out if you feel things need to be changed or are no longer relevant. So encouraging programs that reduce and limit the potential for soil erosion and structure damage. Sounds good. Protect and preserve quality and quantity of water resources for the long-term development of the Lakeport planning area, as well as the prevention of further ground subsidence. Promote practices and ensure the protection of the planning area's diverse vegetation and wildlife. Actually, do I need to read these aloud? Can everybody see them? It's not like, y'all aren't literate. So I'll just give you a minute on natural environment. And why don't you just tell me if there's anything you think that needs to be done? And I'll count, 20 Mississippi in my head, and we'll move on to the next section.
Sounds good.
Great.
I really like that it's talking about coordinating with City of Lakeport.
That's exactly my point. Plus,
Yep.
we have to have a stronger recognition of the groundwater basin, the Scotts Valley Water Conservation District, the relationship with the city, all that kind of stuff. So the natural environment emphasis on water supply. I'm not sure I see that. The second one says preserve the quality and quantity, but it's, you know, it's not strong enough. It really needs to be improved.
How would you change that one?
Let's see. How would I change that one?
Because I think that's where it would go, right?
Well, yeah, and then of course it would break down into a cascade of objectives, goals, policies, and implementations. But
and we're going to cover that later. We'll definitely get.
I understand. I understand. These are the top level ideas you want. So in terms of the idea, this protect and preserve the quality and quantity of water resources. I would say in a collaborative effort with the city of Lakeport. Call that out.
Good. Okay. Anybody else have a suggestion for number 2?
Betsy, do you want to just call out water supply too, so it's a little clearer? Protect and preserve quality, quantity of water resources.
Yeah. So
including or specifically water supply?
Well, water resources include supply, but you also want to protect the stormwater coming in. You want to protect the recharge area. You want to protect the lenses. I mean, you want to
right
more to it than just supply.
Right.
So we want to just add to this then that we're working it as with partnering with city.
In a collaborative effort with the city of Lakeport. That's crucial to everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Collaborative.
Right. Good. Any other changes on this section? You know what I would like to add, and I want to know what y'all think, but we've been having discussions with tribal representatives, and one of the newer ideas that are not new to them, but are new in terms of seeing it reflected in an area plan is preserving tribal cultural resources, including view sheds.
Mm-hmm.
I know that we have right here the area's archaeological and historical resources, but the state changed its laws to recognize the value and the importance of tribal cultural resources, which could be.
I like that idea. I do.
Yeah,
it's very good.
Okay, should I stop selling it? We'll just add it in there.
Yeah, make it strong.
Okay, so how about something? Yeah,
I think you could also drop it into the protect and preserve the area's archaeological, tribal, and historical resources. Archaeological and historical obviously are going to encapsulate tribal, but explicitly calling that out, I think, is important.
Yeah, good one, Danny.
Thanks.
Excellent. All right. Anything else here? Not, we'll move to public safety. Public safety. All right.
I have a question about item 2.
Mm-hmm.
What is this is something that should be explained and should be really part of the focus of this whole plan, but this is the first time I've seen it where it talks about the greater Lakeport and Scotts Valley areas. Now, if you recall, I did recommend in my letter to the LAPAC that we need a map that includes the city, because that's the source of the essential services for all these other areas, which are only special study areas. They're not an actual area plan. So I think that we need to somewhere in here, maybe it's in community development, but certainly in public safety.
I can jump in. I have a thought on that second one.
Yeah, good.
The make reasonable, and it's just kind of worded a little sloppily. I think saying make reasonable and necessary efforts to reduce flood hazards, I think that implies the idea that like some of these areas that flood, every 100 years are going to be safe to build on. And I don't think that's the case, especially with the frequency of atmospheric rivers that we're seeing. I think also that in the greater Lakeport and Scotts Valley areas, I think just explicitly calling out the flood zones in those areas. So if it's the Scotts Creek watershed out to Blue Lakes or something, or along Scotts Creek and Tule Lake and maybe weird parts of Lakeshore, like just
Denny, let me jump in here.
Yeah.
Let me jump in here, because what we're talking about, the big bitch out there in Scotts Valley is the flooding of Scotts Valley Road. And Angela Dow has a couple of major projects coming up. But the socio-political issue for the supervisor in that district is that, they want to fix that flooding. You're never going to fix that flooding.
That's what I'm saying.
There are things you can do. There are things you can do upstream. And the BLM is working on some of those. The BLM is collecting water data of the runoff because we know it contributes most of the sediment to the lake. There are bridge impediment projects, removing impediments. There's ways to mitigate it, but you're never going to eliminate it. So maybe instead of reduce, say mitigate. Mitigate through watershed restoration. That's what they really need, is a watershed restoration project. And that would include Tule Lake and Icock Road and the Hitch and the Hendricks Road. I mean, all of it would be included in that. So
I agree with that. Yeah. Okay, good. So mitigate flood hazards rather than reduce. And I think the point about make reasonable and necessary efforts is a little wimpy.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Reasonable, particularly, because that's kind of vague.
Well,
But
I'll tell you, one of my major beefs about the general plan is the number of times that the policies say encourage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty low level shit. So definitely, that would be an improvement to.
Okay, wordsmith with me. Instead of make reasonable and necessary efforts, what should we change for that?
Make programmatic efforts. Programmatic would be the cover for all of those. Any program that you develop has to be reasonable and fundable and all those other things, but you need to make sure that it's an action item.
Make programmatic efforts to mitigate flood hazards, particularly in the greater Lakeport and Scotts Valley areas.
Yeah, I would vote
Okay.
for that.
We're good.
You guys all understand why I use the word programmatic?
Yeah, because you want to see basically that we're getting a watershed restoration essentially out of this.
Yeah,
And that
yeah.
would
I want it to be
program.
an action. They have to take this action.
Right.
One thing that I want to let you guys know to keep in mind, particularly with flood hazards, is community development has taken the National Flood Insurance Program over from Public Works. And it's a huge new task that I'm not sure how we're going to actually deal with it. I thought it was going to be nothing, but that's because Scott De Leon is very good at sales. And he convinced me to take it on, but it's much bigger than we were anticipating. And so I'd like something as we go forward, not necessarily here, but as we address implementation programs and objectives, I'm going to need some support in those line items to funds, maybe possibly grants for outsourcing management of this by flood experts or engineers. So that's where I'm looking for in the future.
Yeah.
Just
So
adding that to your list.
Let me jump in on this. No unincorporated territory in the county of Lake is enrolled in the federal flood insurance program. So there are no there are no overlays on a particular piece of property, other than that it is identified if it's in the flood fringe or in the floodway for permitting. So the only purpose of our flood map here is to ensure that the permits are, that there's mitigations if you're in a known floodplain. You have to keep supplying the federal program with the updated maps, and it's an updated mapping project that you have to do, but you don't have to do anything about the insurance.
Well, actually, okay, so I'm trying to still wrap my head around the program, but I do know that if we are not doing what we need to do, everybody's flood insurance is going to go up. And our goal is to actually develop the program and help it to become more robust, so everybody's flood insurance will go down. That's our goal.
But you got to be very careful, because the city, it is so fraught with peril. If you actually get the flood insurance program designation for a given area, what that will mean is that it would be mandatory for people who take out new mortgages to have flood insurance in an area that isn't protected. It can come back to bite you. Trust me, we could have a whole conversation about that.
I think we'll need to. Yeah. Let's do that at a different time.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else in public safety?
With the last one, unnecessary and harmful noise levels provide extra protection for noise sensitive receptors. Keep great. I don't know. There's something here with the highways with me, but I'm not sure it needs to change. But
well, I want to add in that there may be some other later section where you talk about law enforcement and medical emergencies and fire protection, but those to me are public safety categories. Okay, because we know that's
I know
that's a major problem.
It's in a different category, though. It might be in a different.
That's what I'm scrolling to find out. I don't see it, so
I want to look and see where
check
it is.
Services.
I saw services, but it was more infrastructure. Let's see.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Public use, growth. Oh, here's upgrade fire protection and law enforcement. Okay, so we'll keep it there, but probably flesh that out a little bit. All right. And keeping in mind, these are general bases. These are like standard or general objectives. So we're going to get into nitty gritties and implementations later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, at this time, sorry.
Margot?
Yeah, thank you. Since we're still at the high level, I suggest that we call attention to part of our wildfire management strategy, that we incorporate best practices that are available to us on the federal level, federal and state level. And I sent an email this morning to most of the people on this call, for whom I had email addresses, with that suggestion with more detail.
Do you think that is captured in reduce the threat to lives and property from structural and wildland fires in the Lakeport planning area? Keeping in mind this is general.
Yeah.
It's going to get broken out into more details later in the area plan.
Well, I'll keep that in mind, and let's see how it rolls out.
Okay. All right. Community development.
This is another situation. Scroll back up, please. There's another situation where the terms reduce the threat. That is like another one of those mealy-mouthed promises. Okay.
All right. Give me what's better.
Improve the fire resiliency. How's that, Betsy?
Improve is another wishy-washy. I mean, we don't know what that means. So I would say public safety. I would say implement the community wildfire protection plan.
That's an implementation. That's not what we're doing right now.
Well, then
Develop the implementation plan?
No, that's an objective.
So
It's something that we're going to be doing for the purpose of reducing the threat to lives and property. Like, I know that's mealy mouth, but it's actually, it's that overview level that we need in this particular section.
Okay. Okay.
Don't worry, we're going to get to that. We'll make sure that's included.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else on public safety?
No, it's fine.
Community development, ED.
I have a question about organization. So I understand that economic development is really going to be covered more in depth in the local area plans. But what if there is a program that really needs county support? For instance, if the county decided, we really should support a tribal museum featuring pomo baskets. Well, that's a heavy lift just for one area plan. So how would that work?
Well, it would first of all, it would address that previous discussion about cultural resources. To protect our cultural resources and archaeological resources. So that particular one would fall into that. But in terms of economic development, I think, again, we need to specify the collaboration with the city. It says, issues of general economic should be addressed by diversification. Diversification isn't what you need. You need worker housing.
Right.
We have diversification. We have 20% of the population speak Spanish and is the primary workforce for all the agricultural areas. Attraction of non-agricultural and tourism-related business would help us. That tourism is a freaking dead horse. Unless you promote the county's, agricultural industries, as Maria and I have talked about this. There's a whole realm of agricultural activity that isn't even highlighted in the general plan. I mean, it's like we've missed this whole main chance here. We have huge agricultural diversity already. The year-round economic issue, that is one of those things that has plagued the cities and the city of Lakeport, with their downtown association and all the businesses there trying to work with the city. As it happened in our Scotts Valley Community Act Advisory Committee meeting and the in-person meeting on the subject of the general plan. There were all these people that came who said, we want more restaurants. We want more, lakefront stuff. We want more this, more that. It's all going to be in the city. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So.
Hey, can I call you right back? I'm in a LAPAC meeting. Okay, thanks, bye.
Yeah, so there's just no relationship here. This idea of us, I mean, they're all great ideas. Sure, let's have more businesses. There's one.
But it does say such efforts should involve a high level of community participation and cooperation with the city of Lakeport. So we do have that included.
Yeah, I just don't think there's anything we can do with this. It's whatever.
Mm-hmm. Good. But I do think that they're still relevant.
To the conversation. Sorry, I don't understand the focus of the non-agriculture focus, the attraction of non-agriculture or tourism-related business. The word non-agriculture and then followed by or tourism. It's like it's a self-canceling phrase. The whole sentence implies that non-agriculture will provide more stable year-round economic activity. But we're an agricultural county, and so agricultural tourism could be supported more. And so I just don't, because I'm late to this conversation, I don't really understand what is meant by non-agriculture.
What we're looking at right now are just general assumptions. So these are not policies or objectives. We're going to get to those next time probably. But what we're looking at are just general assumptions. And I think that I can understand your confusion as far as that first point. But where I see it is what we need to focus on is to support the diversification and strengthening ag for tourism. And then secondarily, all that non-ag and other tourism-related businesses help also to provide a more stable year-round economic base. So I kind of see it as supporting both, but really focusing on developing and strengthening ag tourism. That's how I read it. Do you guys read it any different?
I think that the second sentence needs to be changed because it's sort of... It doesn't segue in a way that makes sense to me. Reading it, just blah.
All right, hold on.
I can't really explain how I would say it, but I would say maybe just there's something between the first sentence and the second sentence that's missing in order for the second sentence to make sense to me.
Okay. What should we add?
I think you could actually neaten this up by just taking the first sentence and after addresses by diversification of businesses to help provide a more stable year-round economic base. It's not specifically
I like what you're doing.
Supporting tourism. It's not specifically non-agriculture.
So Danny, I would say after the word strengthening, take out the rest of the sentence, the areas of agriculture and tourism, and then take out the attraction of, and so strengthening non-agriculture, and we could say and agritourism. Related businesses. But, one of the problems that we have with this is that agriculture is a seasonal business, except for those that have greenhouses.
This isn't true.
It's not a year-round economic base for the people that work in the summertime in the vineyards typically have winter jobs. I mean, so your economic desire for this year-round economic stability is understandable, but that's up to the Chamber of Commerce, in my opinion.
I think what about diversified businesses is the go, because then it's you're hedging your bets, right?
Right. You want businesses that are operable all year round.
You want a diverse ecosystem of businesses in your area. So
I'm going to leave it up to you guys.
What about ecotourism? That has a little more
year-round. That's all incorporated with businesses. And I understand the want to focus on agriculture, but it's not a sustainable year-round economic base.
Yeah.
For as much as we're dependent on that tax base as a county, it's not a sustainable year-round economic tax base. It's not.
So what about the issues of general economic development for Lake County should be addressed by diversification and strengthening ecological, non-agriculture, and agriculture-related businesses to provide a more stable year-round economic base?
I'd buy that.
Can you say it again?
Can, but
sorry.
I would, Mireya, I would just take out the specifics and just focus on the goal, because agriculture and tourism are just two potential economic forces. And if you just don't define it, then you have more options. You don't have to say eco, you don't have to say ag or tourism.
How about the issues of general economic development for Lake County should be addressed by diversification and strengthening local businesses to provide a more stable year-round economic base?
Yes, I love it.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Good.
Okay.
Yeehaw.
Getting good work done here.
Can I go next? I have some other thoughts
Yeah,
on
go ahead.
network specifically. So, improve the operation of safety of highway system. That could probably be removed
Hold
entirely.
on, wait. Before we get down to networks, do we have
sorry.
anything in housing? Because I'm typing these notes in, so I don't want to jump back and forth. Anything in housing?
Yes. To piggyback on what Betsy had mentioned about the need for farm worker housing. So I was curious and I looked on the web, and there is a USDA webpage on farm worker housing. And it says, while there is a crisis of housing shortage for the entire nation, the housing needs of the farm worker are being overlooked. So we should call attention to that need and develop plans to address it.
All right. Well, how would you put that?
Let's see. I would add another bullet that says to encourage innovation.
You just said encourage. You hate that word.
I know. Well, it's in
Okay.
there now. It's already in there. It's encourage. So I'm just adding another.
Encourage innovation.
Innovation for alternative housing options. You guys, Maria, you know what Mendocino County did. They adopted a set of plans of standard housing that you can go in and get for free. You don't have to go through any of the permitting aspects because it's all designed in there.
Actually, we've set up that website now too. We're accepting plans as they come in. That's a state law.
Right, but but encouraging innovation. There's a lot of people that have projects that they would like to promote for housing here, but they can't because we don't have policies for them. Like Elliot and Magdalena's co-housing project up there on the mountain that they couldn't get off the ground because it was not in the permitting process. So encouraging innovation, I think, would be really nice to
How about, is this too much? Encourage innovation for alternative housing options to support residential development for all economic levels.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
thank
think
you.
that's okay. I would offer one thing where you could just maybe drop a couple words here and kind of get that idea. If you just said encourage the implementation of broadly
I said encourage innovation.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm kind of just changing
the one that's right
in
there.
front of us here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Encouraging the implementation of broadly affordable and diverse housing programs in the Lakeport planning area.
We don't have broadly affordable housing plans. We have housing plans that address broadly affordable development. Is that the same thing? Or development of broadly affordable housing stock. But we don't have a broadly affordable
I would use the
plan.
word.
Sorry.
No, you're doing good.
I would
see where you're
definitely
going.
encourage. Use the word innovative, and I would say instead of encourage, should say support. Then you can stop using the word encourage all over the place.
I like that, Cornelia. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. So change number 1 to, delete. Okay, support the implementation of
Innovative
housing programs in the Lakeport planning area. But I want to get that affordable part in there too. Because are we
Do we have,
combining that one that I
affordable
added?
policies?
Say that again. Sorry.
You said to follow the applicable policies. Do we have any policies in regard to affordable?
This is all. This is just a broad one saying we need to do what the housing element says that we were supposed to do. That's what that one is. I think that, which is great. It's still good, and we shouldn't, that's still relevant. But I think what we need to do then is add something that's going to address the innovation and the alternative housing options. To me, that's a separate thing. Oop, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, make a second sentence. And then maybe include something like seasonal housing opportunities, because they're currently in the zoning regulations. There are not loopholes, but there's support for seasonal housing, which is defined as not non-year-round housing, where you can get permits for that are easier to get than permanent housing. So I don't want that to go away.
I mean, I think that kind of stuff can still be included in the county housing element. So I gave my alternative as an option to try and merge the two, but I think this is fine, to be completely honest, because the things that we're talking about are going to be included in that housing element.
Right. And I think
Okay, however,
the innovation too.
However, we're not doing that housing element right now. That's going to be a separate project. It's not part of Lake County 2050. So how about we keep that one the way it is and then add encourage innovation for alternative housing options to support residential development at all economic levels, including seasonal housing.
Perfect.
I like that.
Okay. All right, good. Go ahead with networks now, Danny.
Improve the operation and safety of state highway system. We don't have oversight over that, so that can probably just get nixed, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, we don't have oversight of that.
And then a few lines down, there's improve the safety and operation of street and roadway systems. So I think that makes up for the ones that we do have oversight of. So I think that's fine.
Well,
Okay.
we may not have oversight of those programs, but we do have two official bodies that include supervisors. One of them is the Caltrans DEAL program, and then the other one is our Caltrans Safe. We get these huge amounts of money called STIP, State Highway Improvement Program funding.
Yeah.
That's the money that's sitting there in the treasury waiting to be used in the road widening of South Main Street that we can't spend because we can't get the water issues resolved. So there is this state highway system. We do have a role in that.
Okay.
Yeah, I was more pressing the idea just to see how that plays into the general plan, right? And if it's necessary, but if you think it is, then by all means. The next one, I would say the new and existing residential, commercial, and industrial development. That's wordy and specific and could probably just be included with like general development or diverse development, that's just an initial thought.
It's just a placeholder. It doesn't matter. It just says we're going to do that in the policies.
Okay.
No, it didn't hurt anything.
Yeah, no,
So
thank you.
Keep them coming, Danny.
I'm reading the ones I didn't see. I like the provide a safe systems for pedestrian bicycle facilities because that's the exact same phrasing that Caltrans is shifting their wording to, is the safe systems. So that's good.
Oh, yeah? Oh, cool.
Yeah. Safe systems unit with Andreas Kraus.
relate water and sewer connections in the plan area directly to the area's optimal carrying capacity. Oh, that sounds smart.
Mhm.
Yeah, if we just could develop that threshold. But the next one here, encourage wastewater management that does not contribute to the pollution. That's a public safety issue.
Mm.
Okay.
So here are you.
Public
Hold
safety,
on.
water resources. It's a couple different.
And in this case, I would say ensure compliance with the US EPA water quality orders. But, that's very specific. I know that's going to go in the policy someplace.
Yeah.
Wastewater management, this whole prevention of pollution. You remember the meeting that we were in which Michelle Igraci didn't understand the State Lands Commission grant? I mean, that just boggled my mind that she obviously hadn't read it. It's online in the county. It's the root of the county's responsibility for preventing pollution of the lake. It's the core fundamental document that makes it the county's responsibility. Maybe
What else?
support the clean water program, sanitation and water quality improvement. I don't know if that's too specific, but just you're going to talk about pollution entering the lake. Well, that's a major public health and safety issue.
Mhm.
So add support the clean
replace
water
the word-
sanitation and water quality improvement.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear that.
I think that's what you said. I captured. I just want to make sure I got it right. Add the support the clean water sanitation and water quality improvement.
How about enforce?
That would be good. And enforce the compliance with the ensure the implementation of federal, state, and local policies to prevent pollution in Clear Lake. Prevent the pollution of the
That sounds like an implementation, not a base assumption.
So,
That's where we start getting more of these action verbs.
It's the same thing with that next one. Improve the drainage for stormwaters. This is all part of that clean water program. The water quality order, the MS4s. I mean, there's a whole world of enforcement requirements that I guess would be going to general plan if we could ever do that. But so maybe protect the Scotts Valley, protect the Lakeport area plan.
I could give it a shot.
Yeah, go ahead, Danny.
Improve water courses. I mean, I don't know
What
if
about
that's
water
too
courses?
vague, because then that includes sort of like the, like incomplete stormwater systems in Lakeport, but then it also includes like Scotts Creek and diversions, but maybe that's way too
What
vague.
does it mean though to improve water courses?
How about implement all regulatory requirements to prevent the pollution of the lake in the Lakeport area plan?
I'm not feeling it yet. I don't think we've gotten there. Keep going.
When I mean, and maybe you can help me here, because what I mean with the improving water courses is that like improve drainage for stormwaters, right? So that's going to include not just the creeks, but it's also going to include like culverts, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't necessarily think that improved drainage for stormwaters doesn't include both of those things either. So
Okay.
I'm very much on the fence on this one. I think it could be left. I think it could be given further detail.
What's
Yeah.
missing? Let's add detail if it's something is missing, but if it's general enough to count as an assumption, but not be an implementation or an objective, then we should be fine.
Then I would add, after the word encourage, I would add water and wastewater because they're tied together in the separate storm sewer systems and the drainages. That's all. Water and wastewater.
Water and wastewater.
How about water and wastewater discharges? Yeah. Well,
Wait, encourage water and wastewater discharges?
no. Encourage
Reduce.
management of discharges to the lake. That's everything. That's the whole watershed. It's all the culverts. It's all the all the manhole covers. Everything.
Okay, so that would be an add, right? Manage water and wastewater discharges to the lake.
Yeah, if you
Right.
use manage in there, that would be the action word.
All right, so we're changing encourage wastewater management to encourage water and wastewater management that does not contribute to the pollution entering the lake. And then we're adding a bullet point for manage water and wastewater discharges to the lake.
No.
You already have that.
So encourage water and wastewater management that that prevents pollution entering the lake.
Okay,
Absolutely
cool.
prevents
Hold on. That prevents in the planning area. And area that prevents pollution entering the lake.
Yeah.
Okay, are we good with that one?
Would you consider sediment being pollution?
Yes.
Um,
That is the basis
Well,
of our
I mean-
nutrient loading. That is the basis.
Well, of
our
course. I mean, I totally agree. I mean, what I'm trying to get at
No,
is a lot
Cornelia,
of people don't think as natural.
That's going to
Huh?
take a major education program, but literally, the US EPA impairment of the lake is called nutrient loading, and the nutrients are carried into the lake through the sediment.
I know. So that's what I'm trying to get at. I think it would be good to include something that implies that naturally occurring stuff is still pollution. That's what I'm trying to get at. Because otherwise people just think it's like toxic chemicals or sewer spills, and they might not consider that sediment is a pollution, because the
Yeah, I know,
word
and
pollution.
I've had this battle with supervisors. I've had this battle with state officials. They are not willing to. I mean, it is built in, and it's one of the problems that the state created or the feds created when they started calling cyanobacteria blue-green algae, because their terms are confusing. But yeah, sediment
Right.
sediment is a natural pollutant. It doesn't mean that we created it, but anything going into the lake that is not exactly pure, clean water is a prohibited discharge. Truly.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, I mean, I don't know if it's redundant, but I was thinking of adding a word to make clear that we're including sediment as being polluting.
I'll leave it up to you guys to figure that out.
All right, let's keep in mind that this is the assumptions. They are supposed to be very general, like 30,000 feet over, bird's eye view kind of stuff. We get into nitty gritties in the policies and
I guarantee you, Cornelia, it's built into all the water quality orders.
all right, let's go on. Let's see, we have 36 more minutes. I totally think we can get through this section, and then that'll be a good breaking point.
Now,
Wait, improve community communication access while mitigating the impacts of new facility. What the heck does that mean?
that was
Improve
just what I was going
community.
to tell you. That's exactly where we have to actually make this very strong. Communication systems include power, Wi-Fi, internet, cell towers, cell phones, emergency frequencies, you name it. This is a hugely deficient area, and it imperils everybody.
Oh, that's what we're talking about. Okay, we're talking about cell towers. Thank you.
Yes. Cell
I was
towers.
trying to still relate it to water stuff. Okay.
Patrick,
Okay, yeah. So let me tell you
But
what
not
we're
just
dealing
cell
with.
towers.
everything, all the mechanics, all the electrical systems, all the financial stuff, all the responsible parties. The whole thing is an area that is everybody's stayed away from, and we have to fix it. You could say
Well,
Right,
communication.
don't just limit it to cell towers.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think it's just because I have a cell tower project in my mind that wants to go up right on Merritt Road in Kelseyville. It'll be the tallest thing by like 3 times as tall as anything else in the Big Valley. And I just don't see how that's going to work. But I also am very limited on how we can say no. But that's perfectly right, falls right into improved community communication access while mitigating the impacts of new facilities, including aesthetics, I think. So, but yeah,
Well,
that's a rough one we're dealing with right now.
You can leave that the way it is, but I'm going to tell you that I am going to be a bitch about the actual goals, policies, and implementations on this one because.
Duly noted. I will brace myself.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Welcome. Services.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
And I think we need more than cell towers. We need underground. We need broadband. We don't just need more cell towers. We need
No.
Cornelia,
we need all of it.
up-to-date
Okay?
services. Yeah. All of it.
Well, you'll still need a repeater on ICOF Road, even if they put a cell tower up.
Okay. We need to move on. I
Yeah,
want to
I
get
got
through
it.
this stuff.
Yep, I got the
Services.
first one on services.
Okay,
Ensure
go
any
ahead,
proposed
Danny.
development is coordinated with public services and public works capabilities. Maybe that's wrong.
Development. Okay.
Now,
Just adding
Needed.
public works to that.
when it comes
But
to
wait, I
public-
don't think they're talking about public services department.
Oh,
that's right.
important.
That's right.
Yeah, they're making sure that proposed development works with what is available, the
Gotcha.
capacity of public services.
Okay, then leave it.
Okay. All right. Good point. I mean, good thought. Keep going. What else?
School districts to plan for change in enrollment, not expected growth in students.
Right,
just
because
change in
we're
enrollment.
seeing all across the country, we're seeing school districts folding because of the diminishment of student enrollment. And we have that fact here in Lake County.
So
It's-
okay. So instead of expected growth, it would be to plan for what? Shifts?
Changes in the
Change
population.
in enrollment,
Yeah.
specifically enrollment, because that's the language that
Or you could
think you're
use
Good.
student.
Yeah.
You could use student populations.
that kind of gets weird when you have homeschool kids. So
But they're
But,
still students, and they are enrolled in the school
yes,
system. and we
they
wanna
would be
encourage
enrolled.
them.
So you can just
I
use
kind of like the word enrollment better.
Yeah.
Okay, what else in this? Upgrade fire protection and law enforcement. That's a good assumption. That's a good base goal.
hands off on that one.
Still need parks and recreation facilities, anything? Okay, moving on. Land use.
Well, that's a no-brainer, that first one. You want to have it where infrastructure is. You want to protect class 1 through 4 soils.
Yeah, it pretty much captures a lot of top priorities.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, shoot, I got a alarm clock is going off. Pardon me. Designate appropriate amounts of land to accommodate projected growth. See, once again, we're not projecting growth. We are trying to develop a sustainable, healthy economy in a period of stasis where the population that is going to grow is the younger generation, which is leaving the county always. And so
I like the second sentence. The designate sufficient lands to accommodate a balance of land uses subject to environmental and public service constraints. I kind of like that because it simultaneously says we can plan to accommodate growth, but we're also simultaneously protecting our environment. Yeah, and by that I think of class 1 through 4 soils, our ag soils, which are finite.
Yeah, so you get rid of that first sentence and then you're done.
Okay. Change.
The whole first bullet point is what we're talking about.
The first sentence, designate appropriate amounts of land. That is an implementation.
Yeah, that's a scary sentence. Take that out.
All right. So we'll take the first sentence out, keep the second sentence. What else?
Yep. Ensure that amendments to the land use are found to be in the overall public interest. Well, I like that.
Yeah, I think we should keep it.
We're finding land use designations that don't serve anybody except a personal parcel owner.
Well, when we do go through reviews of like proposed general plan amendments, we do look at the general plan and make sure that it is not in conflict with that. So, and since now our general plan and our area plans are going to be combined into one general plan update, meaning that instead of separate area plans, they're each going to be chapters of the general plan. So it will all be one. So we'll be looking in future analysis of projects, we'll be looking to make sure that it is consistent and not in conflict with both the general plan countywide elements as well as the local area plan element.
Sure. So now special study areas. I would like to see a bullet point that says all of the area planning areas are special study areas grouped in relation to the central source of public services, which is the city of Lakeport. I mean, again, there's no area plan. All we have is special study areas. I want to see an area plan.
What? We have an area. This is an area plan. What are you talking about?
Well, there is no map of the area that includes the city. The city is non-existent, a ghost, but it has this profound central role in the area plan. So,
okay. I don't think anyone disputes that, but we don't have a planning jurisdiction in Lakeport.
No, you don't, but you have an existing working relationship with the city. They have an MOU to work on this together.
Oh, totally. Oh, yeah. And we rely on that working relationship.
Yeah, so maybe just put a bullet point before each of those saying that these are special study areas in relation to the city of Lakeport. I mean, well, because they're not focused on. See, you're working on the impression of the Lakeport community. Are you talking about the city there? They're talking about the entrance to the city when they talk about it in their general plan. They want the visitor's impression in the special study areas to lead people to the city. They want that, that Todd Road or whatever it is where you take off for South Main Street. They want that to be, to be promoted The first impression of Lakeport community. Maybe that's an implementation instead of a goal, instead of a policy.
Well, okay. I mean, by Lakeport community, that to me says city and unincorporated.
I will not give up until we have an planning area that actually recognizes 4 special study areas.
You want the city to be a special study area?
Might as well.
No,
I mean,
we have no jurisdiction over the city.
It's not about jurisdiction.
Well, what would we do about the city then? Like, what would be in it?
The fact that all of our essential public services come from the city. Fire protection, sanitation, water supply to some extent, roads, streets, lighting, noise, highway improvements at the intersection of 11th Street. I mean, along North Lakeport, what Danny's talking about is sound walls that will allow those residential areas to be more intensely populated. I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is not the place to try to address that.
Well, no, let's think about that. Would a special study area be a subchapter where we would talk about our relationship with the city?
Yeah, we could make Lakeport, the city of Lakeport could be a special study area. We wouldn't have jurisdiction over it, but we could identify policies and goals.
Hold on, just spilled my coffee. Second, it's late emergency. One moment. Be right with you.
Good luck. Good luck.
It's cold. Okay. All right. So, this is an interesting concept. So, should we make the city of Lakeport regarding the value of working collaboratively a special study area? This is one that I haven't really thought about before, and if it's okay with this group, what I'd like to do, or should it be reflected elsewhere in the LAP? I'm going to take this question to the core team where we have a whole bunch of planners together that do general plans and talk about that, because I think that has extreme value.
Yeah,
recognizing the importance of and the co-reliance on the city of Lakeport. So it should be in here somewhere. I think that's a really good idea. I'm just not sure where. So let me go talk to other planners and come back to that one.
But I would also encourage you to talk to Kevin Ingram, because I know he's involved in this. But since we don't have jurisdiction, if we called it a special study area, which the OPR would allow us to do, that would just embed that in the central core relationship to the plan.
Oh, well, luckily we have Victor and Joey. Super duper.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So that message is getting conveyed.
Right. Yeah, and I'm taking notes here, Betsy. Guys. That is definitely kind of an interesting. Like I'm on the same page as Maria. I don't know if that's been done before, so we'll definitely look at it on the city side also, just to kind of see how the collaborative effort can.
Yeah, I realize it's a brand new thought, but it just occurred to me that would solve our problem of not having jurisdiction, but including the city, because
we could word it so that it was clear that for future people who aren't here right now who read this, that we're not trying to impose anything on the city, but rather just highlighting how what Kevin says occasionally is how rising seas lift all ships or something like that.
Well, it's the core that affects all the other planning areas, all the other special study areas. So if we don't work with that, okay.
We're sticking a pin in that one, and we're down to 21 minutes. And let's see, we only have this much left. We're doing good. Okay. Anything specifically in what's already existing that you want to change? discard?
Scotts Valley for agricultural purposes, especially if we know that we should be looking at watershed restoration.
Well, I would say, yeah, more than agricultural. Protect Scotts Valley for natural resource, cultural resources, agricultural resources, watershed resources. I mean,
yeah, I don't know. It's just like, and then it like balloons into everything, right? It's just like,
yeah.
and is it just protect Scotts Valley, like period?
Well,
like, I don't know.
It's a special type of protection for Scotts Valley. It's a special study. The whole study area is basically natural resources and agriculture, open space, BLM land, et cetera. Floodplain, water supply.
Okay, how about we keep that bullet point, but then add another one of, what's a good verb?
Natural resources. Don't forget that the city of Lakeport uses Scotts Valley as a water source for the whole city.
Right.
And so, it has to be protected for agricultural and natural resources for everyone's benefit.
Yeah. Well, that'll come out when we talk about Lakeport as a special study area, but it also should be specific to Scotts Valley. It's more comprehensive than just agriculture.
Mm-hmm. So protect Scotts Valley for ag enterprises. That speaks to me as a planner as far as limiting development on prime ag soils, but then also add protect Scotts Valley for preservation of natural resources.
I guess the tough thing there is that like that prime ag land is also like a lot of that is floodplain, right?
Some of it. The floodplain does affect some, but a lot, yeah.
Okay, that's good context.
Boy.
But the natural resources.
Most of the flood area in Scotts Valley is that is problematic is Scotts Valley Road. As soon as you go to the ag lands, they're not standing underwater. There are other areas in Lake County that have ag land that stands underwater. Upper Lake is a prime example of that. But in Scotts Valley, it's just the lowest point of the valley is the road, and that's the big issue when we talk about flooding. Is that the people who live here? It's in emergencies we can't get out. In fires we have 2 exits, and in the winter we have the same 2 exits, and it's all related to the fact that the road is at the lowest point of the valley. So the ag land thing is not necessarily the issue; it's the road.
I would say protect Scotts Valley watershed resources, because that covers everything.
I like that more.
Sounds good.
And as far as the road, Cornelia, I hate to tell you this, nobody's ever going to fix that road. Okay, it ain't going to happen unless we suddenly, come up with the.
Okay, go back. Let's not do that one. I want to finish this list today.
Yeah.
So protect Scotts Valley for watershed resources
Not
in addition
for.
to agricultural enterprises, or not?
Not for. You protect Scotts Valley watershed resources.
Yeah. Okay, so not adding, changing. We're changing that one.
Right.
Okay, got it. Change. There. I just need to make my notes really clear so that I don't have to watch all these LAPAC meetings again in order to get the right info to the core team.
Yeah.
Good.
Well,
all right.
we'd love to see your notes someday. So,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
good.
Commercial. Heavy commercial. No, heavy commercial is not the zoning in South Main Street. There's only one heavy commercial zone, and that's out by the airport. Heavy industrial. Oh, heavy commercial, not heavy industrial. Okay. Heavy commercial. Oh, man.
Hold on, because we're also talking general plan land use designations, not zoning district
Right.
So I'm zooming over to that South
No.
Lakeport area.
That's okay. I see it.
Isn't that the one
Yeah.
that we were asked if we wanted to change it from community service to community
Commercial.
commercial?
Yeah. In the survey, there were a lot of questions about South Main Street.
Okay.
So that's okay.
Yeah, I think we can
Yeah,
keep
you
that
could-
one.
You could
And-
also
and-
just change heavy to community commercial for basically whatever that turns out to be.
Nope, I'm in
Yeah.
general plan. Okay, so in general plan, we have industrial. But
Right.
what the heck is heavy commercial? We don't have that. I think what they mean is industrial. Because down on South Main,
My understanding is that most of it is either commercial or
it's service commercial.
or light industry. Light industry.
Right, but we don't have light industry as a general plan. We have industrial, which is south of Soda Bay, or we have service commercial, which is mostly along South Main Street before it curves to become Soda Bay.
So I think there's a noun missing here. The first two words are heavy commercial, and the noun that's missing is development. Heavy
Yeah.
commercial development should be
agree.
directed to South Main Street.
That makes sense.
And whatever those first two words turn out to be, the point is development should be directed to South Main Street.
Okay, hold on. Number one.
You got heavy commercial in the first one. In the next one, you have light industrial development, and in the last sentence, it talks about heavy industrial should be directed to the future industrial park plan for the Lamson Field Airport area.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay.
And in fact, that is where it should be, except for the watershed, water supply, sewer, and wastewater issues that you can't. There's certain things you can't do there because you don't have you're not hooked up to a sewer system.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Can I make a request that people mute themselves so there's not so much feedback?
Yeah, we are
really
getting
hard
a
to
little
hear.
background sound, huh?
Yeah, too much. Too much.
Okay, almost done. Hang in there, down to residential. I love the infill idea. And in fact, this is where I'd like to see encouraging development of mixed use as part of infill. Let's put that there if you guys are okay with that.
I think everybody's okay with mixed use, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, that's what the surveys are saying, but I'd like to go ahead and add it as, okay, just adding to that first sentence, accommodated by infill, comma, including mixed use. Good?
Sure, that sounds good to me. Now, the thing is that you got very specific here, the area of West Lakeshore Boulevard in the vicinities of Parkway and Walnut Drive. Walnut Drive is not going to accommodate major development. Parkway runs all the way from the freeway down to Lakeshore Boulevard, but you got all those unincorporated parcels on the south and the north of Parkway, like on what is the name of that? It starts with a K. Roads and the roads that run parallel to Lakeshore Drive up through the foothills. That's a whole sector. I mean, what are we looking at? I missed it.
I'm pulling the GIS up to North Lakeport so you guys can see the general plan because a lot of the housing was encouraged to go up there before.
Right.
So I just wanted you to see what was done in the last Lakeport area plan update. Okay, how do I
But
get
you
that
have,
off?
yeah, you also have to accommodate the infrastructure, and there is a moratorium on water in
Wow.
Lakeport. So,
Great.
you're going to have to fix that to do any development in North Lakeport.
Yeah. But, this is a long-term plan.
Right.
Okay,
And we
so
could-
there
and we
is
could
North.
get funding for it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why a base assumption, if it's still a priority, that helps us in the future.
Absolutely. I think we're all in agreement. Yeah, North Lakeport is a great place to have residential, South Main Street, commercial, Scotts Valley,
Yep.
open space.
Yeah,
and
I
that.
can remember when Kevin worked on this area plan,
Mhm.
and that's where we put a lot of that high density residential. So that's
Absolutely.
good. That was enforcing that.
Yeah.
Let's go back. Okay.
Well, so we don't have what's not included in that is Robin Hill. Robin Hill has several hundred acres zoned for development, zoned for subdivisions.
It does?
Yes.
Wait a second. Let's go look.
This is the history I know.
Well, I thought it was pretty packed.
Back
There's more?
back in 2008, when there was a moratorium, the moratorium on CSA 21 out of the Special District Administration, CSA 21 water treatment facility, which is just south and east of Robin Hill in the lake. There was this because it had reached its maximum throughput capacity. There were 6 or 7 big developers who wanted to develop the area of North Lakeport. They got together and formed a nonprofit water company that came up with $8 million that they were going to use to supplement the existing water treatment facility. And those developers included at least 2 and maybe 3 who had large parcels on Robin Hill that they had clear cut, taken all the oak trees out of, because it had been designated for subdivisions. They were one of the
So right here near Mackey, and then over here near Robin Hill.
I can't quite understand what that map is.
Yeah. Oop, now I know how to get back. Okay, there we go.
But it's
All
I
right.
mean, you go up Robin Hill Road, and there's
Yeah.
quite a distance before you come. That little subdivision there that you can see, that's only maybe 100 or so houses. That's a subdivision, but you can see those other ones are subdivisions
Yeah.
that were zoned for that, and those people were investing in that for subdivision development. But there's no water. I'm just mentioning that you didn't include Robin Hill in the list. You focused on Parkway and Walnut, but you didn't include Robin Hill. Robin Hill is a prime area where you could have some of that housing.
Okay, do we want to add it there then?
I would advocate for it. I don't know
Right.
how other people feel.
Anybody opposed? Because I think that makes sense. It's consistent with where it was. It's just adding a detail.
Right? Well, it's a big detail, girl. We're talking
I know.
hundreds of homes.
Yeah, but right now that's all vineyard. It's all Sealy Vineyard. Change.
And I mean,
to
my initial, obviously, which is, something that'll be discussed during the housing implementation plan, is like access to other things in that area, right? That is a very car dependent area. It's not easy to get to grocery stores.
True.
Can't walk
Exactly.
across Rodman Slough. So I know
Yep.
that's not explicitly related to this, but
No, but it is something to think about though too.
yeah.
How
would
about
add-
a new one? Let's add a bullet point here for consider. No, how about encourage multimodal transportation within housing development plans? Transportation
No,
facility.
that's too specific.
Am I giving you an implementation thingy? I might be.
Yeah,
huh?
and look, you can see up on Robin Hill, you can see if those three developers got together, they could donate a certain portion of that land to have a little a grocery store, a post office, a bank, where everybody has their mailboxes.
We've actually already got
little
space for that out by the hospital too, not too far off. So, I mean, there's lots of potential here for that. I don't know how that fits into.
Okay,
Well,
we're going to leave it for now. Let's skip that
Okay.
because we have 5 minutes left and just this one
Yeah.
thing. And I think environmental impacts are going to, you guys are going to jump down that rabbit hole. So let's go.
All right, let's go.
Those are pretty good.
Well, algae bloom is not the issue. It's cyanobacteria.
Okay, so change that one to say cyanobacteria.
Yeah, algae bloom is wrong. I'll get that every time. The
We're
loss of-
updating that. Yeah, I think you're right. We used to say that, but now change.
That's a battle I've been fighting for 20 years. So, and NASA fucked us on that one. So loss of
Yeah, they
wetlands,
did.
loss of wetlands. I would say loss of natural. Let's see. Well, wetlands are just a part of this ecosystem.
Habitat, sensitive habitat.
Yeah, you could add wetland sensitive habitat,
And buffer
drainages.
zones.
What?
Buffer zones that
Well,
include wetlands and sensitive areas.
How about sensitive ecosystems?
Okay. So change to loss of wetlands, comma, and sensitive ecosystems.
Yeah, sure, that's fine.
Good. Good.
Now the sewer problems in North Lakeshore Boulevard.
Do we still have sewer problems in North Lakeshore Boulevard? City
Yeah,
people?
No, it depends on whether it's within the Special Districts Administration or the Public Works Department. But what you should have there is an identified issue of impacts is
But you know what though? We may want to change that very first beginning of the sentence because these are identified impacts that came from the EIR. That was part of the Lakeport Area Plan update. So we're going to want to change that.
Wait a minute! I've never seen an EIR for the Lakeport.
I haven't
area.
either. I didn't know we did one.
Well, let's put this aside then and get that
Okay.
EIR and figure out what that's about because that's major. All
I've
of
never
this.
even heard of it.
Yeah,
so-
me either. So,
Yeah.
and
Okay,
then
let's just put this one on hold because if we want to keep that same basic sentence, we're going to change it to the kind of like the Lakeport 2050 EIR. Or we may
Can
want to
I,
just change it to what we consider to be.
no, I want to see what it is. If we have one, then we should figure out what they've done because that's part of
Yeah.
something we need to implement. When
right.
we
Hey,
do the new
Victor?
general plan, I don't want to ditch the old plans if they're effective.
Uh-huh. So,
Right?
okie dokie. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Enough
I
of
agree
that.
with that.
Excellent. It looks like we had stuff in chat that I didn't even look at. Oh, no problem. Okay. Okay.
Did
Do
you
we
have a
still
question
have
for me, Maria?
city guys? Yes, Victor and Joey. Would you please ask Kevin about the Lakeport Area Plan EIR if he's ever heard of it?
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you. I think he would be able to help me find it.
Okay.
Because I know I've never
Can I get
seen it on the shelf.
Wow. Okay.
All right. Hey, look at that. We have like seconds to spare. Well done.
I have
Go
a
ahead,
seconds
Manny.
to spare question. What is it talking about North Lakeshore? Is it talking about where the city and Lakeshore meet? Because that in my head is South Lakeshore.
I don't
16
know, but when we find that
Here's
EIR,
the
let's
deal.
figure that out.
Yeah. Okay.
16th Avenue. 16th Avenue is the city line. North Lakeport is everything from 16th Avenue to the Nice Lucerne cutoff.
Where's
So
16th
North Lake
Avenue?
Shore, North Lake Shore then would be the Lakeport side of it, right? Because doesn't it go south as it goes to the Nice?
North
cutoff?
Lakeshore Drive, are you
Yeah,
talking about
yeah.
the street?
Yeah, that's
That
what it
begin-
had in the.
That
It's not
begins-
Lakeshore Drive, it's Lakeshore Boulevard.
Okay, but
So
that begins
that's a
that
start.
begins at Bob Bridges' house when High Street goes past the old Nylanders Shopping Center and makes that arbitrary right turn. It's still called High Street. Once you turn left along the lake shore, that's Lakeport Boulevard or whatever you're calling it, Lakeshore Boulevard. Right there at
It
Bob
might have been
Bridges'
a
house.
typo. But either way, we're not addressing that section anymore anyway. Before
Okay,
we close, I just let me take a look at the calendar. Also, I am really excited that we got Bethany and Joey and Victor here from the city. Do y'all want me to add you to the Lakeport LAPAC specific email list? That's what we use to send out invites and like attachments, documents, stuff like that. If you guys want, I'll just add you in.
Yeah.
That would be great.
I think you should see. I think you should CC Kevin Ingram.
I'm going to leave that to staff to send to Kevin because he gets hammered with all kinds of emails. And so I know that Kevin knows that everybody from the city is here today. So let's just include them and y'all can keep Kevin updated.
Okay.
Let's look. Okay. Our next LAPAC meeting for Lakeport is in person. And it is on Wednesday of next week, Wednesday the 13th at the board chambers at 5 p.m. And this is our opportunity to meet with the LAPAC, only Lakeport LAPAC, but I mean, and everybody who's interested in that one, to talk about community growth boundary amendments, Lakeport planning area amendments, and I think we already covered our land use designation changes that are specific from people requests. Remember Patty Kelly and Bob Gardner, but we'll look at any other land use designation amendments that the LAPAC thinks might be useful. That's what we've got. So also, I sent out right before this meeting, I think I included Cornelia too, is the existing Lakeport area plan policies and objectives. And I'm going to take a look and make sure you guys get the implementations also. The implementation part is different with each area plan. Some of them it's integrated right in there and others it's a table that's separate. So I don't know which one Lakeport is because I haven't looked at that part yet, thinking about that topic. So if it's integrated, then I'm just going to let you know that you need to look at the Lakeport area plan, because it's hard to cut and paste all those implementations. But if we can do it, we'll do it and send it out as another attachment.
Great.
And Joey, Victor, and Bethany, I'll forward you that email right after we meet right now.
Perfect.
So thank you, everybody. This was good stuff.
Yeah, thank you
See you
all
next
very
week.
much.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Bye.